Welcome to Focus on Suppliers. I'm Blake Woolsey.
And I'm Jarrod Davis, and today's show is all about your e-commerce.
And connecting with that consumer
Absolutely.
digitally. I had a great chance to visit with the co-founder of Menguin and really talking about how do you connect with that customer online. That's kind of challenging.
Now, Blake, do you ever go online, order your groceries, and then pick them up at Walmart's pickup?
Yes, I do. I love it.
Yeah, very convenient. It's interesting to learn how that's affecting our grocery shopping and sales. So Tim Madigan from Tyson's going to give us some insight into what lies ahead for Tyson.
And our very own Don Harris is talking to the Sunshine School about their latest fundraiser, Over the Edge.
And of course, we can't talk about e-commerce and online shopping with how artificial intelligence plays into all this. And I was happy to speak with Jarrod Ramsey from Rockfish. Great insight.
Great insight. And we also have Gemini Development also talking about the way in which we're reaching that online customer. So Focus on Suppliers starts now.
Focus on Suppliers, brought to you by 8th and Walton, where suppliers learn fast and grow, and sponsored in part by Saatchi & Saatchi X, Case Stack, Excel Displays and Packaging, Mitchell Communications Group, and other outstanding companies.
As we continue to talk about e-commerce, one of the most interesting trends is coming in consumer electronics, and that's why I'm glad Andrew Horning is here from NPD Group to talk about some of this market research that he's found. Glad to have you here, Andrew.
Thank you very much.
I want to ask you about e-commerce in general. We tend to put it all in one bucket, but I know at NPD you break it out into separate categories in the market. How do you see each piece of the pie?
Right. So instead of looking at it in one big bucket, we can look at the e-commerce business in three distinct pieces. One is the pure play online retailers. So retailers such as Amazon that have traditionally only done business online. The second group would be retailers like Walmart that have a brick and mortar operation but have supplemented that with a .com business. And then finally, the manufacturers or suppliers selling direct. So instead of going through a retailer, selling directly to consumers. So a lot of times what clients will use our data for is to understand where to best allocate their spending. Based on the size of these different pieces of the e-commerce business and the direction that they're going, if something is only a relatively small piece of the business, they only want to allocate a smaller amount of money in terms of marketing and spending on those specific areas.
Now, as you're looking at all this data, how much business is being done online?
So depending on the business that we're looking at, it can vary actually quite dramatically. So something like the automotive aftermarket, it's around 10%. Something like apparel and toys, it's around 20%. But in the consumer electronics business, it's actually about 30%, which is the highest of the industries that we track.
And in consumer electronics, what do you see trending for 2017?
So from a category perspective, in terms of what's being purchased online, it's certainly things like tablets, computers, 30 to 40% of the business is done online. On the other end of the spectrum, something like smartphones, still only about 10% of the business is done online. So it's still a very brick and mortar focused category.
When you see all the businesses being done online, do you find it's generational?
We do find some kind of shifts in e-commerce. So we actually have a service called Checkout Tracking that looks at customers' receipts. And what we can see from that is that when we look at millennials, for example, the amount that they spend online versus what they spend in the store on an online purchase is about twice as big for an online purchase than it is for a brick and mortar purchase. So it's quite a big difference, and it's important for suppliers to understand that the purchase dynamics of what's being done in brick and mortar can be quite different than what's being done online.
Ah, that's interesting. Thank you so much for joining us today, Andrew. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
As we continue to talk about e-commerce, we're very fortunate to be joined today by Tim Madigan. Tim is the Vice President of E-commerce for Tyson. Tim, thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
I wanted to ask you, Tyson is such a leader in so many different categories. How have you been able to take such big strides with Walmart's SAO initiative?
Well, store assortment only initiative, really, it's a great opportunity for Tyson. Historically, we have not been selling on Walmart.com, so we haven't really spent a lot of time and effort on putting our content on Walmart.com. But what we've realized with this initiative, we have the opportunity to talk to the 60 to 80 million unique visitors that Walmart.com has each month. And so we're putting out our content that talks about our products, nutritional labels, even ingredients and recipes that help consumers really better understand our products and how to use them.
As e-commerce tends to continue to grow and develop, what are some of your best practices?
I think there's really four things that we would focus on. The first is around resourcing. We have to make the commitment to put either someone who understands e-commerce or has the intellectual curiosity to learn about e-commerce up against the business. Second is around content. We kind of talked about the importance of that, making sure that we display our products in a great way online and making sure consumers understand why buy Tyson products. Third is around merchandising and marketing. You can't just put it out there. You have to make sure people can find it and want to buy. And then finally, analytics, where this space constantly evolves. And so it's important for us to be able to read how the different tactics are working and then kind of make modifications as we go.
When you're looking at the future of e-commerce, what trends are you following?
First of all, with grocery, we're really excited because historically, grocery hasn't been sold online. And so now that retailers are making the move into selling online, it's a great thing. It's available. Consumers are also now wanting to buy online. You don't wake up one day and decide I want to buy lettuce online. You have to buy some other categories first to get used to buying online, and then you're thinking about grocery. And then finally, just smartphones and the ease of technology in people's hands, just making it a lot easier for them to be able to buy our products. Those are the big trends for us.
One thing that's in the headlines almost every other week is Walmart's online pickup initiative. I'm wondering, how has that affected Tyson, and what has that also done for other areas of your business?
It's actually a great thing for us. As I mentioned, Walmart.com really can't sell our products as it ships products through the mail. So it's really not great for frozen food like us. However, the pickup is ideal. This is where consumers can build a basket of products through their mobile phone or on their computer and then go to Walmart and have it delivered right into the trunk of their car. So this is basically grocery shopping without having to go into the store. And so for us, it's great in that consumers can have the convenience of ordering online and still get all of our types of products. So it's a great thing for us.
Tim Madigan, I appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
Suppliers, get the latest retail news 24/7 at Walmart News Now.
So, stock car racing, it's huge. It went from a regional sport to a national phenomenon. Success has come from investing in the stories and characters that are the drivers, turning it all into consumable entertainment for fans. But stock car racing has a great opportunity before them: millennials and Generation Y. With an increasingly diverse demographic and fragmented media world, they're not following racing like their parents did. So their opportunity is to bring their already established and celebrated stories to this emerging demographic. And like stock car racing, brands are facing the same opportunity. Brands must continue growing their presence and awareness with the next generation. And consumable entertainment and story is priority number one for millennials and Generation Y, especially when brands use this. Brands need to be focused on the next generation if they want a place in the winner's circle.
K-Stack, the leader in collaborative retail consolidation programs. We offer the supply chain expertise needed to navigate the challenges of selling products with the world's largest retailers. And we provide customers with a customizable, scalable, environmentally sustainable supply chain with the same advanced technology typically used by larger rivals. By leveling the playing field, K-Stack lowers distribution costs and increases overall margins. K-Stack, retail logistics is what we do.
If you need answers and need them now, chat with us. Talk with our ReaderLink experts online during business hours Monday through Friday. They'll quickly help you find what you need or point you in the right direction. Go to 8thandwalton.com/chat. We can help.
So over the course of our shows, we've talked quite a bit about Walmart's SAO initiative. We want to turn the topic, though, today to talk about specifically how suppliers need to make sure that they are focused on their own websites for e-commerce purposes. So we brought an expert to the table. As a co-founder of Menguin, we have Bogdan Constantin joining us today. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me, Blake.
So the language of sharing economy has come up in conversation. What does that mean, really, to our supplier community?
Sure. So what we've noticed is that primarily in kind of the millennial customer base, people want what they want, when they want it, kind of on demand without having to actually own the inventory or make that financial commitment to it. For example, we do online student tuxedo rental primarily for weddings. Our millennial customers don't necessarily want to own a several $1,000 tuxedo for a life event that happens once or twice.
That's
right?
my husband. Why? I don't want to buy one. They're so expensive.
That's exactly it. But by leveraging sharing economy, essentially kind of like almost a rent the runway type approach, if folks know about that, very similar. I order what I want, when I want it, and have it delivered to my doorstep, have a great experience, and then I send it back and don't have to worry about the financial impact that looking so great in a designer suit or tux had.
So how else are you filling this need in this rental tux market?
Absolutely. We focus almost exclusively on the bride. So I mentioned we almost do all weddings. And if you think about who really is the decision maker in weddings.
Yeah, who's the decision maker? If it's not her, it's her mother.
That's exactly it, right? So it's usually her and then her mother because of the purse strings, right? So what we've noticed is if we focus almost exclusively on the bride and make sure that it's a great experience for her, and also, of course, the groomsmen and everyone else renting, it's going to flow very smoothly. So we let her do things like manage all the groomsmen. Once they're invited, she can sign into our portal and see exactly where they are in the process. Have they accepted their invitation, gotten fit? Have we shipped the inventory? All that stuff. We make it as safe and painless as possible for our core demographic, which is bride and by definition groom.
I'm curious about this whole notion of making sure that it fits correctly. You're doing this all online.
Absolutely. So we've got a couple of fail-safes. The first one, though, is we've got something pretty interesting. We're very into data at Menguin. We've actually invested heavily in our fit algorithm. It's essentially a machine learning algorithm. On the front end, we ask the guys a few basic questions like height, weight, and then favorite brand of shirt, what size they wear that brand in. On the back end, we've got a robust algorithm with 22 million men's profiles, get their measurements more accurately than a tailor.
So what is one of those things that you can share with our community who's watching the supplier about how to optimize their websites even further for e-commerce?
Absolutely. And I think the thing that most comes to mind is mobile first. And that's a great buzzword. You hear a lot about it. But what does it really mean? So our core demographic is a millennial, so about 25 to 34. And what that really means to us is they live on their phones, right? Yeah. They do research, they call, they text, they're on social, their entire lives.
They're reading books on it.
That too, and investing in their 401ks and things like that through apps. But most importantly, because they live on this, you have to optimize for this smaller screen. So our experience at Menguin on mobile versus desktop is night and day different because the consumer wants different things. You've got more real estate on desktop. You can better articulate the value proposition, the features, the benefits. Where on mobile, you have to think, what does the consumer really want? They want small, digestible morsels of information based on whatever product they're looking for. And then what they really want, though, is to very effortlessly be glided from one step in your funnel to another without having to really spend time worrying or wondering what really happens if I go next. So how we focus on that is, they land on a specific page, we give them whatever information they're looking for, and then very effortlessly they go to the next one if we've qualified them or that's what they're looking for, and so on until we actually get them to convert and click on that big, blue buy button. And
to make a really good decision where they feel like they're informed, like I don't have to go back home and then go online. I can do all of this right here.
Exactly. You're giving them exactly what they need in digestible morsels because the screen on the phone is much smaller to make sure that you're giving them just enough to get them to go to that next step, to get them to go to that next step, and then holistically they have exactly what they need from start to finish to really understand the process and use our service.
Great information you're sharing with our viewers. Thank you. Thank you for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
One big question for many suppliers today is how do I reach that omni-channel consumer? So with us today is an e-commerce expert from Gemini Development. He's co-founder, Blake Puryear.
Great to be here.
We are glad that you're with us. Let's start off just very basic and talking about how you define influencer marketing.
Sure. Influencer marketing is when you take someone who is interested in your product, who has an audience online, and supply them with a sample of your product. They will then post about it on their different channels and reach their audience on your behalf.
So it's just expanding to an audience that may not have ever tried or tested or even used your product or service before. This makes me think a lot about mom bloggers, you know, as she is so important as a consumer, and how mom bloggers were so big with all of the retailers as well as service-oriented businesses. Is that similar?
Influencer marketing has definitely evolved beyond the mom blogger era, and it's now reached out into different kinds of audiences. So from outdoor consumers to fitness bloggers, that kind of thing.
So it sounds very specialized. So somebody who's in hunting and camping or electronics or even fresh or organic, you probably can find a lot of them.
Exactly. All of those influencers have their own audiences, which brands can then leverage to reach people who may not even heard of them before.
So as a world, we can shop 24/7. How do we accomplish in reaching the consumer 24/7 from a digital perspective?
So I think a great solution there is the branded chatbot, which is a trend right now that's getting a lot of steam. So you'll see somebody like Sephora will have an online presence on Facebook Messenger with a bot that's available 24/7.
Now, are you talking to somebody or not?
You're not. It's more of a...
It makes you feel like you're talking
It does, and that's definitely on purpose. It's to make them feel more comfortable that they're actually talking to a low-level AI kind of machine learning piece.
And is that why oftentimes you use that and they're like, did you get the answer you wanted? So
Exactly.
they know that they're getting accurate information to you.
And they're learning from that, yes.
And they're learning from that. So suggested sales, I know, is a powerful tool. When I was young and waiting tables through college, that was sort of upselling somebody. You want fries with your hamburger. How do you use that suggested sales tool online? Because that's difficult when you don't have somebody actually having a conversation with the shopper.
Intent-based email marketing is the popular trend there now. And that is where someone will get an email from you, a base level email that's maybe just introducing them to their brand. They open that up and they start shopping on your site. Well, you can learn from them as they shop. So if they're looking for a t-shirt and then dive into red t-shirts, you could then follow up with them, hey, here's some red t-shirts you looked at. Would you like to purchase these?
Because you didn't already purchase them.
Exactly.
But I want you to make that purchase of them. Can you talk a little bit about some cross-branding and how people are actually collaborating as retailers? Because I can see that this is also a space that we're seeing some momentum.
Right. There's a site called House where you're actually seeing this much more frequently now. And on House, you can cross-promote products. So for example, you may show a full shot of a kitchen, and there may be a faucet, pendant lights, granite countertops, all from different brands.
But House doesn't own all of those.
Exactly.
Different retailers
and they're promoting them individually.
And what sort of success have they seen from this?
So this is actually showing up now on Instagram and a few more image-based social media sites. So I believe that they're seeing some great success from these cross-promotional images.
And do you think it's also linking back to where we started influencer marketing?
Exactly, yes. People are posting about, I have this great faucet from this brand, I have these excellent countertops, leading into people looking for homes, discovering that content, and then later on following up and making a purchase.
And building trust and credibility.
Exactly.
So, Blake, thank you for being with us today and talking about this, which sometimes can be complicated.
It's great to
understand it. You helped us understand. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Take your career to the next level with our accounting, invoicing, and deductions class.
Are you a single parent with dreams of earning a degree or professional certification? Single Parent Scholarship Fund of Northwest Arkansas empowers families in Carroll, Madison, and Washington counties to become financially independent. A better, brighter future can be yours. Apply today at singleparentscholarshipfundnwa.org.
What if you created a town today? What would that town stand for? What matters and what would stand out? And where would you find this new town? Bentonville, Arkansas. Visit Bentonville, a new American town.
If you need answers and need them now, chat with us. Talk with our ReaderLink experts online during business hours Monday through Friday. They'll quickly help you find what you need or point you in the right direction. Go to 8thandwalton.com/chat. We can help.
As technology continues to evolve, the impact on retail is absolutely amazing. And one of the more fun parts is artificial intelligence. To learn more about how artificial intelligence is affecting the way we're doing business, Jarrod Ramsey from Rockfish Interactive is joining us. How are you, Jarrod?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. Yeah. So I know that artificial intelligence right now has a big play in the health sector. How are we seeing it in other areas of retail?
You're certainly seeing in other areas outside of just health and retail. I mean, you're seeing automotive, you're seeing in manufacturing, you're seeing tons of artificial intelligence being played all over the place. In retail, how we're looking at it or how it's being viewed upon is kind of into two sections. Is you got your conversational, which is trying to have an interaction with a consumer and maybe like produce the best results to that consumer of their intent. And then you also have the pattern recognition, which might be detecting like what's performing the best or the worst in certain areas, and then how do you improve that with other scales and with other metrics that you're looking at.
So for artificial intelligence, what's sort of the next natural step as far as e-commerce is concerned?
So what I'm seeing is that just like how mobile commerce disrupted traditional, or e-commerce disrupted traditional commerce, and 15 years ago, and then of course it led to like what it is today. I think that in 5 to 10 years conservatively is where headless commerce is going to start disrupting mobile commerce as we see it today. And that's the idea of where you're introducing Internet of Things, so IoT, where you're introducing subscriptions, where you're having like Google Voice, where those are going to be much more common and purchases are going to be made with much more regularity. And the idea behind those is that there's less interface, there's less engagement for shoppers to have to do on, say, like the normal everyday items like laundry detergent or dishwasher soap, and they're procuring a list automatically on their own independently of the consumer doing that themselves.
So for the supplier watching us right now, what do they need to be looking for as the technology continues to evolve, and how do they put these into practice?
So I think they need to be looking for how they lead with value first. You create something, some form of engagement for that user so that they can take advantage of headless commerce and into that next level. And then you start with the value, and then you barter that value for data. And whenever you're getting that data from that consumer, you're able to get into regular patterns and regular shopping behavior. You're able to feel that shopper's needs, and you're able to create loyalty and help convert before the consumer's even ready for it, or right when they're ready for it, and as they need it.
Now, give us a little insight from your perspective, Jarrod, because you work with this every day. What excites you, and what are you looking forward to as we look at this over the next 3 to 5 years?
So I think the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is how we're going to see in our existing students, so junior highs and high schoolers, how they're learning this technology and how they're going to graduate with much better skill sets, and they're going to be much more tech-enabled than what we are today. So an example of that is what I'm showing is just some devices that this one's a cell-activated device that I can find anywhere in North America. This one's a near-field Bluetooth-enabled device. It would take electrical engineering degree to be able to build this stuff. Now I can go buy this for $20+ and have it at my fingertips. And students are taking these things and they're integrating into their bicycles. They're integrating into their washers and dryers at home, and they're having fun stuff with it. And they're going to graduate with a knowledge of and entering into both employee workforce and then also in consumer state with this kind of technology at their fingertips. And they're going to expect a form of customization and tech enablement.
Wow. Jarrod, thank you so much for joining us today. Great stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And we'll be right back. If you're looking for a new book to read, you're in luck. We have got Brenda Allison back from ReaderLink to let us know what's new on the bookshelf. Hey, Brenda.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'm ready to curl up with a good book and relax, and I need something new on the old bookshelf. What have you got?
Yeah, first I'm going to talk about curling up with your little kids.
Okay.
This is a series from Disney called 5-Minute Stories. This one's theme is snuggle, so perfect for your question.
Nice.
5-minute snuggle stories, and as a parent, you know exactly how much time you're getting into, because some kids will ask another story, and you know each one only lasts 5 minutes.
It's never too early to start reading to a young one as well. That helps their development.
That's right. Literacy is great for little kids, even before they can even read themselves or recognize letters. It's great to read with them. It's also great bonding time for parents and kids to spend that time together.
Absolutely. Okay, what do we have for our adult audience?
Yeah, so you said adult, but this book is technically a young adult title. It's called Before I Fall. The movie based on it opens on March 3rd, and a lot of YA novels have have been used for movies recently. You may remember The Hunger Games. So it's not just for teenagers, it's for adults too.
Okay.
And this is a story of a young woman who passes away.
Spoiler alert!
No, you know right from the beginning,
okay.
but she has to relive the last day of her life for 7 days
Oh.
and make different choices about what she's going to do.
Okay.
So.
Now, what's on your bookshelf right now? What are you into?
Yeah, I brought a book called All the Missing Girls, and it's also kind of suspenseful. A young woman who has a great job in a big city returns to her small hometown. One of her friends went missing years ago, and now another woman who was involved in that case also goes missing. And the trick here is the story is told in reverse.
Oh.
So you kind of know what happens, and you have to fit the pieces together as you go backwards in time. So kind of a neat setup.
So the mystery's kind of unfolding as you read.
That's right. It'll keep you up late at night.
All right, interesting. Brenda, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back.
Hi, and welcome to the Heart of Business in Northwest Arkansas. I'm your host, Don Harris. And about 60 years ago, there were a couple of kids with disabilities whose parents decided that they needed as much opportunity to get education and training as anyone else, even though they had disabilities. And they went to the basement of a local church, and that was the genesis of what we know today as the Sunshine School, which is located in Rogers, Arkansas, and is doing just incredible work with kids with all kinds of disabilities, be it autism or maybe Down syndrome or other issues that they might have. And today we've got a friend of ours from Sam's Club. He's a senior vice president in the merchandising area, Ed Romero. Welcome to Heart of Business in Northwest Arkansas.
Thanks for having me, Don. Thank you.
And you're not just a merchant, I understand. You're a bit of a daredevil as well, because there's some kind of unique fundraiser getting ready to happen with Sunshine School that I think you want to tell folks about.
Yes, on March 11th, Northwest Arkansas for the first time will be hosting the Over the Edge fundraiser event to help sponsor the Sunshine School and raise money for them. And this is a great event. It's open to about 90 rappellers, and they'll be actually rappelling off the 8W building right across from the Walmart home office.
You have experience with doing this?
Long time ago when I was a much younger man.
Okay, well, again, that sounds like quite an event. Now, it obviously is a fundraiser for the Sunshine School, and it sounds like it's a lot of fun, could be a team event. How did you get involved with Sunshine School anyway?
Well, a longtime friend of mine is Jessica, and her and our husband actually worked at a customer team a long time ago, and they have a son by the name of Jude who has Down syndrome, and he is just the best kid ever. And and I've got my kids who are 6 and 9, and I tell you what, anytime Jude's around, he just brings out the best in them. And when we recently moved back to Northwest Arkansas, we had a chance to go to the Sunshine School and just see what they do every day in the lives of these kids, and it's pretty amazing to see these kids with all the obstacles and all these challenges, and they just attack it with such a positive attitude, you wouldn't know that they had anything stacked against them. It just helps keep things in perspective, and it's something I'm really proud to be a part of.
It's wonderful that people at Walmart and other people get involved with the local community. I also had a chance to go by there, and Jessica's son ran up to her and gave her a big hug while we were going down the hall, and just as cute as he can be. And to see those kids get the kind of one-on-one attention and developmental training that they need is, well, it's heartwarming to say the least.
It really is. I don't know if anyone can tour there with a dry eye.
That's right. So if people want to get involved, I guess you could have a team event, or you could rappel, or maybe just sponsor someone who's going to rappel. I mean, how do people get engaged with this if they're interested in it?
So the first thing is you can go to thesunshineschool.org or just search for Over the Edge, and you can find the event and sign up for it. Mm-hmm. We're looking for rappellers. You can sign up, and then if you raise $1,000, you'll actually be able to go over the edge with me. If you can do it as a team event. You can do it as a Toss the Boss, where you can sponsor someone and dare them to go over. We're also looking for volunteers on the day of. And if you're not the adventurous type, the Sunshine School is always looking for volunteers and donors and people who want to be active in supporting the community.
So that date again is?
March 11th.
March 11th.
8 West. Come over the edge with me.
Toss the Boss. That is a scary proposition, sir.
For some reason, my team was really excited to see me go over the edge. I'm not sure why.
Well, that's great. Sounds like a really fun time, and it's going for a good cause, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
Thank you for watching today, and we'll see you next time on the Heart of Business in Northwest Arkansas.
Connect with us online. Follow 8th and Walton on Facebook.
Our guests enjoy staying at the 21C Museum Hotel and hosting dinner, meetings, and product launches there.
Okay, so what did you get out of this week? Probably nothing, right?
There was so much great information, but what I really pulled away is one of the mistakes that a lot of companies made in the beginning of online, and some still struggle with today. You can't simply take your website and put it on a phone or put it on a tablet.
It does not work. We've all experienced that, and we think, what in the world did they do?
You've got that millennial shopper, and actually any shopper who wants that great experience, ease of purchase on their phone, on their tablet. That's where they are, and if they're upset with it, they'll find someone who's giving them what they want in an experience.
And they'll let everybody know
exactly
what worked and what didn't work. I love Bogdan Constantin of Menguin talking about how they make every one of their customers, no matter who they are, feel like that rock star, that celebrity, and they're empowering their employees to service them however they need to make that wedding day the very best day of their lives. I love that mentality, celebrity. Loved it. So lots of good stuff that was shared. We'll see you next week as we talk about replenishment.